Another college football Saturday here, and I've got a number of complimentary plays coming up your way, including a couple of Big Ten games between Michigan and Nebraska and Iowa and Penn State in the Big 12. I'm going to break down the game between Baylor and West Virginia. But first, quickly, the question I'm most asked over the years is, who was the hottest handicapper at the site? Well, just like in gambling, everything is cyclical. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have told you the hottest guy going back to January and the most consistent handicapper at the site would have been Mitch Newman. No matter the sport, he had been absolutely on fire. But over the past 2 weeks, he's hit a little bit of a slump. But my God, $10 bettors in all sports combined going back the past 237 days. Now, we're talking about nearly 8 months. They're still up $27,230. So he can afford a little bit of a 2-week slump. But right today, FYI, and you can check out the records over on the home site, Gus Augustine would be right there near the top. Today he is going not only for winning day number 15 out of 16 and 8 in a row, but football winner number 12 in a row as well. And it's his first ever 150-dime play in college football. And it's going to be on the Texas-Oklahoma game. Boy, is that a tough game. I don't know which way to go there. Anyway, it is first ever 150-dime play in the NFL this past Sunday with the Ravens winning by 16 as a 1-point chalk at Denver. You got that per play for half price. Today's play is half price as well using the coupon code FIRST. Another guy is hot. That is hot would be Jack Blayman. Not only today is he going for football winner number 9 out of 13, but today the 17th ever 200-dime double your wager college football play of his career and the first this season. It's on Michigan, Nebraska. I'm going to give you my opinion on that game in a moment. He just hit his first 100-dime max wager of the college football season on Thursday night. That was Houston laying 6.5, winning by a 40-22 score at Tulane. You got that for over half price, and that play today is also for over half price off, and that coupon code is RARE200. And the other guy would be Kirby Maxwell, who has won 10 of his last 12 college football releases. And I think over the past 18 days in all sports, he has $10 bettors up. A pretty healthy amount. As a matter of fact, $4,940 over the past 17 days. So those would be the 3 hottest guys here at the site. Now, let's get to your complimentary plays. On the nighttime card, we'll run these in reverse chronological order. Michigan is at Nebraska. Is it a trap game? Could be. Certainly, it is priced to be one, because you look at that game and you go, Michigan is only 2.5-point favorite. The Wolverines undefeated. Nebraska, sure, they beat up a bad Northwestern team, 56-7 last week, after coming off a couple of moral victories and a 7-point loss at Oklahoma and a 3-point overtime loss at Michigan State. The question you have to ask yourself here, are the Cornhuskers for real? That is, in essence, the question that leads you to whether or not this is a trap game. I say it's not. I say you go ahead and lay the points with the Wolverines here, minus the 2.5. They're 5-0. They won their road opener last week, 38-17 at Wisconsin. Took advantage of some turnovers by the Badgers. Do I think Michigan is going to be able to run the ball effectively? No, because Nebraska's run defense has been very good this season. But what encouraged me about the Wolverines' performance last week in Madison is the fact that Cade McNamara, who has slowly become more effective and more efficient at quarterback, had maybe his best game of the season, 17 for 2,897 yards and 2 touchdowns, because Michigan is not going to be able to run for 300 yards every single week. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. You're looking at laying less than a field goal. If this line goes to 3 or 3.5, naturally I'm going to go ahead and buy down the half point. But listen, if you're betting this game, it's 2.5 points right now. You don't wait to bet favorites later in the day. You bet favorites early. You bet underdogs late 99% of the time. So I would go ahead and play Michigan. Now, the Big Ten game that has everybody's attention today is, of course, Iowa, minus the 1.5 at home at Kinnick Stadium against Penn State. The battle of the unbeatens, both teams 5-0. This is Penn State's first road game since they opened with that 16-10 win at Wisconsin, a game that statistically they were outplayed, but again, they took advantage of numerous Badger turnovers to escape. Who else has Penn State played? Ball State, Villanova, Indiana, and their biggest other win in terms of beating a Power 5 opponent, Auburn 28-20 at home, laying 5.5 to 6 points. Now, Iowa does have the advantage of an extra prep day because their last game was last Friday when they won at Maryland 51-14, taking advantage of, I think, the Terrapins in that game committed at least 28 turnovers. Their only other step-up games, I like to call it, is when they went to Iowa State and they won 27-17. Otherwise, Iowa's schedule hasn't exactly been robust. They beat Indiana, they beat Kent State, they beat Colorado State. Now, Iowa last year went to Happy Valley and left Beaver Stadium with a 41-21 win. I think it's kind of interesting that when you break down the game, everybody talks about both of these teams have great defenses, and they do on paper. But I think the one area that you have to be concerned when it comes to Penn State, that Penn State has held 3 of its 5 opponents to under 69 yards rushing. The 2 that they haven't, Wisconsin and Auburn, the 2 best opponents on their schedule, well, the Tigers ran for 182 yards and the Badgers ran for 180. I do think Iowa, because their passing attack is I do think the Hawkeyes will be able to run the ball effectively here tonight. The other advantage that I think that Iowa has here is that they have a better field goal kicker. Their kicker has hit 8 out of 9 this year, including 4 out of 5 from 40-plus yards. Penn State's kicker is a 67% in terms of his effectiveness, hitting 6 out of 9, and he's only 2 for 4 from 40-plus yards this season. Iowa has perhaps the best secondary in all of Division I ball. This is a team that leads the nation in interceptions with 12. This is a team that feasts on turnovers. Let's see, I think they have 17 turnovers on the season. They lead the nation in turnover margin, and those turnovers have resulted in leading to 75 points so far this year. I can envision this being a 17-14 game, maybe 20-17. Iowa, 1.5 points. I don't think this line moves. I'm going to go with Iowa here. I think under could be certainly a play to consider as well, but I do like Iowa in this contest. On the earlier card, going at noon Eastern time in Waco at McLean Stadium. By the way, I just got done driving across country last week. I love checking out college campuses. I love checking out their football stadiums, to be honest with you. McLean Stadium, Baylor, one of the most beautiful stadiums, one of the newer stadiums. I think it's only maybe about 3 years old, perhaps. If you ever get to Waco, Texas, what a nightmare traffic-wise, but it is one of the most amazing looking stadiums. It's right along the river. Boats can kind of pull up and dock next to it. I think it's the Brazos River, and and at night it's just gorgeous. Anyway, just FYI. Baylor is a 2.5 point favorite at noon. They're coming off a 24-14 loss at undefeated Oklahoma State. Now, remember, the week prior, they had upset Iowa State 31-29 as a 7-point home underdog to improve to 4-0. But let's be honest, their first 3 wins all came against cupcakes. Texas State, Texas Southern, and Kansas. Now, West Virginia is coming off consecutive losses to Texas Tech and Oklahoma, both of those losses coming on field goals in the final minute against the Sooners and the Red Raiders. They lost their road opener 30-24 at Maryland. Their only real good win in victory this year came against Virginia Tech 27-21 at home. Both of these teams are very stingy defensively. Both of them are struggling to establish the run. Both of them are very good at defending the run. I think this is going to be another low-scoring game, but I do think Baylor rebounds with the win. Again, this could be another one of those games that you're looking at a 24-20, 27-20 score, but I think Baylor gets the job done at home and prevails. On the early card, you've got Michigan State minus the 4.5 at Rutgers. I think last week, Rutgers epitomizes a trap game. Rutgers was coming off a very good performance at Michigan in a 20-13 loss. A lot of folks were all over Rutgers as the home dog against Ohio State. And what happens? Ohio State went into Piscataway and absolutely kicked Rutgers' ass 52-13, right? So now you have Rutgers suddenly a 4.5-point home dog against Michigan State, a Michigan State team that has just played great this week. They've already won at Northwestern 38-21. They won at Miami, Florida 38-17. But, and you knew there was a but coming, both Northwestern and Miami suck. Last week, Michigan State, after a hard-fought win the week prior against Nebraska in overtime 23-20, took care of business against an overmatched Western Kentucky team 48-31. Is this a trap game this week for Michigan State, laying the 4.5 points? This Michigan State secondary is not any good. 66% completions against, 310 passing yards a game against. The thing, however, that puts me on Michigan State is, one, Mel Tucker has his team playing great. And two, Mel Tucker is not going to allow his Spartans to forget that last year in East Lansing, Rutgers came in and kicked their ass. As an 11-point underdog, the Scarlet Knights walked out with a 38-21 win. I think Michigan State really is a good team. And I think Michigan State can get the job done here today. So I've given you 4 complimentary plays. Let's rate them how I like them. Number 1, in that top tier, I'm going to put Michigan and Iowa. And I'm going to give Iowa the slight advantage there because they are playing at home against Penn State. So I would say 1A would be Iowa and 1B would be Michigan. In that second tier, I would put Baylor minus a 2.5 at home against West Virginia. And then in tier number 3, that's where I would put Michigan State. And that'll do it for this Saturday card, and I will talk to you again on Sunday. Good luck, everybody.